Hiya! So I said I would make a bonus video for this week, and here it is. This is a video that I've promised to make for a little while, and I just haven't got round to it because I have had a very busy couple of weeks, and I do apologise for that. This is, if you haven't already guessed, going to be about necklines on your early medieval tunics, on your Viking tunics. A couple of people have said that they have had some trouble with their necklines and their neck decoration not working. I've been told off for calling it a neck facing because in modern tailoring, a facing is, of course, something that goes over the hem and is only really seen on the inside. So I'm not going to call it a facing. I'm going to just call it a neck decoration. So if you're making a neck decoration and you're making a neckline on your tunic, first thing you're going to want to do is choose how you're doing your neckline. And there are obviously lots of different ways to make your neckline, but the one I've gone for here is the way that the Regia Anglorum's Edinburgh group page suggests you do it, because it's a great basic guide to making a tunic by a dear friend of mine, Louisa. So Louisa, thank you very much for putting that pattern together. It's a real help for beginners, and I suggest you all have a look at that. I'll put a link in the comments, in the description rather. So what you're going to want to do is first of all make your little pattern of where your neck is going to be. And as I've mentioned in a previous video, I tend to put mine at the front. So the front has a lot more neck showing than the back, and that's so that your neck, which is on the front of your shoulders, if you look at yourself in the mirror, has the hole in the right place, so you don't have lots of weird rumpling and you don't have your neck strangling you. So we've made our measurement for where we're going to make the neck hole, and if you have measured carefully and you've made a measurement of your neck and the size of the neck hole that you need, you're okay to go ahead and cut. If you haven't got the measurement quite right, do as I suggest in my previous sewing a tunic video and just make it until you can't quite get your head through it, okay? And then follow along from there. So either you make a slit down in front of your neck circle, your circular hole for your neck, you'd either make a slit down in front of that, which would widen the hole, or you just very, very carefully and slowly widen the neck hole. Okay, so this is the way I'm showing you to do it. There are myriad ways to make a neck hole in your tunic. You can do it without cutting a circle in the top of your tunic if you're clever, and I'm clever, so that's how I normally do mine. But I do this way as well, a lot of the time as well. So we've got a neck hole. This is it. That's it. Your tunic is now wearable. You can, in theory, stick your head through it, and there you go. At this stage, you can also tell which is the front and which is the back, because you've got a bit of a rise at the back there, and you've got a bit of a plunging neck at the front there. So now you can always tell which way is the front and which is the back of your tunic, just by holding it up and going, oh yeah, there's the front. Genius! Really simple, really genius, and that's just from putting the neck hole slightly forward. As I said, if you want to have that keyhole neck shape, this is when you can put the slit down the front there. So if you've made the slit there, so if you're going to make the slit there, do that now, before you can fit your head through it. Because if you can fit your head through this hole, there's no point having the slit there. The slit is there so that you can get your head through this hole without it giving you a plunging neckline, okay? That's the point of that slit. That slit widens this neck hole for you. That's the purpose of that slit. It's not just a decorative feature, all right? So, let's say that you have now done that and you want to put a facing on this neck. I said I wouldn't say facing. I'm not going to say facing, because a facing on this neck would imply that what you were doing was you were putting something, let's say this is the raw edge of your neck, just here, you were putting something on that that would bind that neck. So like a bias tape or a binding tape. You're putting something on that. You can do that. I think we've got finds that have such things on the neck. Don't quote me on it. That is a pain in the arse. I'm not going to lie, that's a pain in the bum. I've tried it before and I didn't enjoy it. So what I would suggest that you do, if you are beginning, if you're just starting out in making these, is I would finish your neck first. So finish it, roll the hem right the way around, so you've got a nice finished hem here, okay? You've got a nice finished neckline. Roll that over, whip it down, treat that seam however you want to treat it. Then cut your neck decoration out. I would recommend linen for this. You can also use wool. If you're really rich, you can use silk. cut your neck decoration out in one piece if you can. If you're embroidering it, you can just put your fabric across your embroidery hoop, mark out the circle, and then put your embroidery work on that circle, and then chop it out later as a circle. And then simply apply it to the neckline. So this is your neck decoration here, just applied to your finished neckline. That way you don't have to worry about binding over the edge, binding the raw edge. You don't have to worry about it being an integral, intrinsic part of your tunic. This way as well, it's removable, so if you want to put this on a new tunic or a different tunic, you can do that. If you need to wash this, if you get covered in the blood of your enemies, you can then simply whip this off, wash this, dry it, and then stick this back on with you know, a simple running stitch or a whip stitch or something, whatever you want to use, whatever you normally would use. Okay, so there is your simple, very simple neckline. Another option is, instead of making it wide around like that, circular or wide from sort of side to side, you can make it front to back. And we have these ovoid shaped necks as well from the period. So we have these necks that are a little less circular when you look at them from above. It's not quite as much of a circle. It's more of an oval shape, as you can see there. So if you're doing that, the method is quite similar. Again, towards the front is what I would suggest. This time, rather than having a horizontal slit, you can make a vertical slit if you really want, until your head fits through, just about, or not quite fits through. Use your neck measurements when your head is just about poking through the hole, is when I would suggest that you cut your neck oval. Again, my way of doing it that has worked for me in the past, and as I'm sure you've all gathered, my way is not always the most precisely measured or necessarily the neatest way. I'm not an expert tailor. I am not an expert historical costumer. This is just my suggestions and my way of doing things that seems to have worked for me. So, there you go. You have a tunic with a neck hole. These are miniatures, obviously, but the theory is sound. This is wool. So there you go. So, if you want to put a facing on this, again, same process. This is a slightly different shaped facing. Obviously, this is a keyhole, I keep calling it facing, neck decoration on this. This is a keyhole neck decoration. Editing Jimmy, punish me somehow, I don't know. Again, just apply that. So there you go, that's that applied. Sort of, ish. Oh my god. Fix it in post, fix it in post. So there you go. So the neck has that applied to it, just very simply. If you have that slit, so if you have the slit in the front there, let's say that you do, again, just finish that. So finish your neck slit, then apply your decoration to it. Okay, so once you've applied your once you've finished your neck slit, apply your decoration to it, and your decoration should have a corresponding slit down the center of the neck decoration, okay? So you'll have something a little bit like that. Yeah, you'll have that shape. That is all you have to do, and I say that's all you have to do. Measure twice, measure 3 times, measure 4 times, measure 5 times, measure, 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 get a mate to measure it for you, do a rough version of it. Always, always, always do a rough version of these before you move on to your nice 40 £a metre washed wool, yeah? Always do rough versions of these, because they're deceptively fiddly. So take care when you're doing the face, the decorative bits. When you're doing the neck decorations, take care. Make a rough draft of those. Don't make them out of newspaper. Make them out of some cotton, muslin if you have it, or poplin or something. Make them out of fabric, because fabric works differently to paper. And when you're measuring your neck hole, again, I would suggest that you make a rough copy of the tunic body. In fact, if you can make yourself a pattern of the tunic body that you can then use forever and ever and ever, amen, then great. Have that so that you can then go, okay, I need my neck hole to be this big. I know that because that's the size of the neck hole on my pattern. So my way of doing this is a little bit hit and miss. My way of doing this basically involves me just snipping and snipping and snipping and snipping until I can just about push my head through it, and then I trim a little to make a circle. Sometimes the circle is kind of shoulder to shoulder oval, sometimes the circle is a circle, sometimes the circle has a triangular point at the front, sometimes the circle goes a little bit too far at the back, sometimes it doesn't go far enough at the back, and that's because I am still in the process of being any bleeding good at this. So, good luck. I hope this has been useful to some degree for the neck hole. Measure it carefully. Make it too tight to start with because you can always loosen it up. You cannot retighten this if you've cut too much out of it. So make the neck hole too tight, then work from there. Gradually make the slit longer. Gradually make the circle wider. Whichever method you're using. If you're just cutting the slit and if you're cutting the sideways slit and then the downward slit, very carefully, very slowly. If you're making the circle, make the circle bigger by degrees. So be careful, go gradually, go slowly. With the decorations, make them too wide, okay? Make the diameter of this too wide, and then when it's too wide, you can trim it down or you can just fold it under. Okay, don't make it too narrow because narrow decorations look yuck. Make it too wide, and that way you can fold over either edge after you've embroidered it. Take your time, measure the exact amount that you need, including the T-shape at the bottom. Remember, that T-shape should be split as well, otherwise what's the point of having the slit at the bottom of your neck hole? So, I hope that's been useful for you guys. I hope that helps a little bit for those of you who have asked for a bit of help on how maybe that can be done. I will see you this weekend with another video. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you to everybody who's been very kindly donating to the coffee fund. It will be put to excellent use. And thank you all so much for subscribing, those of you who are new, and thank you for those of you who are not new for subscribing as well. So, diolch yn fawr iawn, unwaith eto am wylio. Thank you once again for watching. Na i weld chi dros y penwythnos. I will see you over the weekend. Hwyl am y tro. Bye for now.